Very few Vietnam War veterans open up about their experiences in Vietnam unless they are in the company of fellow soldiers. I was no different, until the beginning of the 21st century when I felt the need for my children to understand their father, at which time I began writing about my wartime experiences. In 1991, I attended a Vietnam veterans reunion in Kokomo, Indiana, and it was there that I crossed paths with a former soldier named Vernon Baker, who operated the Tactical Operations Center radios at LZ Buff. He recounted a battle from 1969 that he had often wondered about, questioning if anyone had survived. I chimed in and informed him that I was one of the survivors, along with approximately 30 others, though many were wounded. He went on to describe the chaotic situation on that fateful night. There were only about 40 soldiers stationed on the hill, and around 2 in the morning, a distress call came through, signaling that the hill was under attack. An unidentified soldier on the radio urgently requested Cobra attack helicopters with miniguns that could fire 3,000 rounds a minute, dust-offs for the wounded, and a blues team for reinforcement. Vernon recounted that amidst the bedlam, there was a lone soldier on that hilltop who, out of sheer determination or fear, kept transmitting a call for help using his platoon's radio. This soldier was overwhelmed with fear and distress, crying and pleading for assistance. He held down the message send key, broadcasting his location and the dire situation unfolding around him without pause. The intensity of this soldier's desperate call seized the attention of everyone in the TOC bunker, and there was an overwhelming desire to join the blues team and rescue those soldiers. In the TOC bunker, every individual was on a different radio, calling for help. They were informed that everyone within 50 miles was under attack, and support was limited, but help would be sent as soon as possible. Everyone in the TOC was on the edge of their seats, passionately rooting for this soldier and his comrades. Vernon went on to describe the grim reality on the hill. The bunkers to the right and left had been struck, and all the American occupants had been killed. The Viet Cong were systematically advancing from bunker to bunker, executing everyone in their path. The soldier on the radio believed he was the sole survivor, concealed to the right of a bunker under a rain poncho and the cover of night. Vernon continued to recount the frantic radio call from this soldier, who whispered his pleas to avoid detection. The soldier shared his name and position, detailing the perils surrounding him and fervently imploring for assistance. He even offered heartfelt prayers for strength to survive and return to his girlfriend, with a poignant request that, should he not make it, someone should contact his mother and convey his love. Then the solitary soldier began to speak about his parents and his girlfriend. Then, with urgency in his voice, he returned to his plea, exclaiming that he had exhausted his ammunition and imploring, "Please, send more ammo." As Vernon spoke, it was evident that the entire reunion tent was emotionally moved by the story. Tears welled in the eyes of most, as we wondered about the fate of those men and the young soldier on the radio. At that point, I couldn't help but interrupt and reveal that I was on that hill that night, recalling the events vividly. There were 12 of us who had survived without injuries. I went on to explain that the reason the radio operator never released the send button was his fear that the TOC would broadcast back, potentially giving away our position. I also shared that 3 of us from that night were present in the reunion tent at that very moment, and I was the one who had been on the radio. And I was scared to death like everyone else. But I wasn't going to give up. I'd keep calling until help arrived.